This is day 2. So you can see I'm out here with the heat gun again. One piece of advice I would say is do not do this in the cold. It's about 37 degrees for the high today, and yesterday was about the same. This plastic is stubborn. I worked till nightfall last night. So basically right now I've got probably about 5 hours of wrestling with this plastic to get all the pieces situated. They're layered, as I said, and you take them out in layers and you put them back in the same way. You really got to play with it. You see here, like, this is still warped, all that stuff still warped. That's because this thing had an accident, and the inner piece that reinforces this is missing. But everything else is in there. But you can see here, there's a broken clip on the inside of this, so of course it's not going to fit right. This is just out of place, so this, I just got to put this back. It is a super tight fit. I'm still wrestling with it to get it to go in. But on this side here, this is where the accident was. So I wish I would have got some film of it earlier, but I've been using a few tools here, just wood and hammer and whatnot, trying not to damage the paint too much. I used vice grips to pull this out to get this to move forward a little bit, because that crease had this tucked back. So now I'm going to push this back here because this needs to be at a 90-degree angle with this. But I had to use vice grip to get leverage and pull this out, so that actually removes some of this crease. And then I got it here, and I'm pushing on this too at the same time, and so I got some of that crease out. Now I'm going to fold that back, and this actually secures the fender, but the mount on the inside is broke, so I just need to get it tucked out of the way so that these things here all line up with the fender. Now over here everything's lining up great, but the biggest issue is right here. So even though you can see it's still not set back to where it needs to be, this is still not lining up all the way, and you got to really force it really tight, and I have not got a bolt threaded anywhere yet. Now those pieces I showed you before yesterday was these corner pieces where the bolts go, and I hope you remember that, because what I had to do is, if you look here, see that? That's a self-tapping screw. So I had to do that. First I put a bolt in one of these holes, pulled it up real tight. This kind of tucks away, so I'm hoping that this all sits flush. But either way, it got this piece drawn up real tight, and if you don't do that, this will sit all the way back. This piece that you're going to mount everything to on each side is going to sit back, and you're going to fight with it. You're not going to have room to get it pulled up the way you need it so that you can get a bolt started. So far I've had to have the customer come out with me because of this corner. So maybe if you have all your pieces and it's nice and rigid, you could put it back into place on your own. Me, I couldn't do it, especially because this is still warped here. It's still very tight. And this sitting in her house overnight, and of course I've had the heat gun on it. You know, like I said, that one piece that's broken here, I'm not blaming Fit Parts here, and they're not sponsoring me or nothing. Priced another used bumper off the car, and it was $1,000. So with this piece, using the salvaged pieces, this thing is like $200 or $300. So, you know, it might be worth it to you, especially if you're in a warmer climate. Let's see how it looks when it's all buttoned up. Now I'm trying to get everything situated, but I just wanted to get a little bit here to show you what's going on. I had to break the heat gun out again to make sure this stuff clears the lights and gets tucked in there real tight. So everything sits back kind of where it needs to be, but as far as getting the bolt started, none of this stuff has been lining up. So again, over here where there used to be rivets, but there were rivets here on the original, so I had to drill those out. So this piece here is just dangling in there. Now it's kind of tight. I only have a couple self-tapping screws with me, unfortunately, so I just used the two that I have, the only two that I could find, and luckily I have two, so I don't have to leave the scene again. This job has been a nightmare, but for somebody working in your garage or something like that, you can probably get away with doing this kind of stuff. Again, I'm also dealing with some of it that's wrecked and the cold, so take that into account. All right, let's see what happens next here. Well, I had to pull it off, or it kind of came off as I was moving it out the way, so here it is on the ground. So when you're taking it off, this this piece here, and this piece might be the first couple pieces you take off, because they were the last ones I put on. You know, the first ones I had to take off before. And I had to have the customer help me pull it to one side while I pushed on the other side to line up these two single bolts. There's one here and one on the other end. And I just put one in and then did the same thing. I had to stretch it out. So this really made a big difference. So if you don't have this piece, you may be in trouble. But this is one of the only things that bolts in and really makes it nice and rigid on the inside. This is what I call done. I'm about to close the hood and pack up my last couple tools. I'm a little bit out of breath. I just torqued down these wheels at 115. You may have to watch more than one video, but this is specifically for this wrapped up fit parts part for a 2015 Charger, and it would be the same for a lot of them. You're going to be dealing with similar situations.